Welcome back to the Crack the Code podcast. Super excited to welcome Rosemary here today. Rosemary is a certified elite trainer with the Peter Sage Academy. She helps executives step into the dance between business and life so they can experience the joy of unity and fulfillment today and every day. She's the owner of the Healthy Connections and also enjoys being a speaker, certified personal trainer, yoga teacher, and professional singer. Her background also includes over 3 decades of corporate sales and sales management experience. So, welcome, Rosemary.
Thank you very much. And I have to tell you up front, my body is in Connecticut today, but my mind is still in Venice, Italy. So,
Oh, yeah. Yes, you just had a fun trip there. I can imagine.
yes, yep. So the possibilities are endless for anybody.
Yes, and I mean, that's another thing that, women often wait to do is the travel part. So that's another topic we can get into. It's
Yes.
never too late to do something, and if you wanna make a plan, just make a plan and go for it.
Hmm.
And maybe, some women, as they're getting into the next stage of life, they're not really sure where they want to go, what they want to do. So sometimes some training is important. And I think your work with the Peter Sage Academy would help women make that jump. So maybe you can give us a little bit of a Coles Notes version of how that works and what they might experience there.
Sure, sure. I came into the Peter Sage Academy in a tough time in my life, and I won't get into those details, but I was looking for something and I needed a change. And 2 years ago, I found him. I was in a summit. Some of us have been some of those summits where there's 12, 15, 20 speakers, and most of them I've heard before, or you just kind of listen along, but you're not really engaged. And when he started speaking, got my attention, and I was listening to every word. And I started one of his programs called Ultimate Self Mastery. And it's a year-long program that's weekly new trainings and videos about varying aspects of psychological growth, et cetera, and et cetera. And what happened was after about a year of doing that and finding, oh gosh, so many areas of my life were changing in such a fantastic way, I moved on to his next program, which is the Elite Mentorship Forum program. That is a 6-month deep dive with a lot of self work, self study, exercises. But one of the fascinating things that drew me to it, besides his teachings, were that it was facilitated by groups of people, two people that had also been in his programs.
Mm,
So the teachers were the students, and so
yeah,
on.
nice.
And after starting that, I was approached and asked, would I be interested in becoming one of their trainers? And that entailed, while I was finishing the Elite Mentorship Forum program, also going through the training program. So the last year of my life has been Peter Sage. My husband knows the words that are coming out of my mouth. He's like, who took over my wife's body? But it is fascinating. One of the things that drew me, many, many things that drew me, were Peter's analogies are so easy to understand and applicable to your life. And you can actually visualize if you're one of those types of people that like stories.
Mm,
His stories were so relatable to what was happening in my life. And one of the very strong things he says that I really related to was the fact that we can't change the people in our lives. I've been married 33 years, been with my husband 37. Lord knows, you know that you can't
yeah.
change someone, especially if they're not looking to change, but also people that you work with. And the best thing you can do, rather than nag, rather than preach and all those things, oh, I learned this, let me share. People don't generally want to hear that. They close their minds if they're not ready for it. So instead, to be the example and the invitation. And I began to practice that in the last year and a half and was astounded by the changes in my relationships and the relationships I had that drifted because they were not the type of people that I needed in my life and they weren't good for me. And the ones that I did have just got stronger and more colorful. And so I've been on this journey with Peter for 2 years, but as a trainer since spring. And the program is, I want to say, as easy as you can only imagine, in that to me it's common sense,
Mhm.
but it is challenging because we have to look at ourselves.
Yeah.
And you can't just say, well, I don't want to look at that. If you
Yeah.
really want the results, you have to do the work.
Yeah.
And the program is lovely because you have self-study, but we have 6 months of once a week we meet together. I, as a facilitator, run the meeting, but it's the participants in the program that are the community group that discuss everything that first week. And the second week of that module, it's a Q&A. So it gives people time to think about what they've learned, bring the questions back to me. And there's so often I see participants didn't even realize they had those questions until someone brought up one of their stories. So we learn from each other and we grow with each other. And when the course is done, participants are now alumni. And
Yeah.
the EMF alumni group goes back 10 years from when Peter started EMF programs 10 years ago.
Oh,
So the
cool.
people, when I finished my training, I went to Tenerife in Spain, and I met some of the people that I've gotten to know in the last year, and a
Nice.
lot of the people that have been involved with Peter for 10 years. And it's wonderful, the camaraderie, but the stimulation and the idea that we're of like minds.
Hmm.
We're here because we want to contribute and raise the consciousness of others.
Yes.
So
And
it's an
it's
amazing program.
great. And I think, and people, if you haven't done a lot of, personal growth sort of stuff, you don't really realize how common, how many commonalities you have with others until you're in a group like this and people are sharing. And at first you're thinking, oh, no one's going to understand, what I'm going through, blah, blah, blah. And then you'll see someone across the room, think they look so confident, they've got it all together. And then you hear their story and you're just like, wow, that's
Mhm.
crazy. I never would have thought that about them because they definitely are not showing that from the outside. So it's really interesting when you see the sort of the back side of the story instead of the front side of the story. And that just allows you to open up and realize how much, easier it is for you when you can share with other people going through a similar thing.
Oh, it's very empowering. It's enlightening. It also gives you a sense of gratitude sometimes when you think you have these overwhelming, heavy duty problems, and then someone else who's going through life and making a difference has been through tremendous obstacles. And so there's just so much, inspiration. And the wonderful thing about the program is I've been in, as you said, sales careers for decades and taken so many empowerment, personal growth, and development courses that were a weekend or a day-long webinar. And I got a lot out of it that day and maybe that month. But if I didn't continue practicing those things I learned, I got back into my old habits. So being in a program like this, that's 6 months of constant reinforcement, positivity, and then after you're done with the program, the fact that this is lifelong, the learnings and all of the recordings and workbooks are at your access at all times forever. But the community,
Yeah.
it's just absolutely amazing. I have friends all over the globe now.
Yes, and I think that is possibly a unique thing with that group because that's the hardest part after you go through one of these kind of trainings and it's like you're living in the bubble. It's amazing. And when it's over, and now if you're not keeping in touch with these people, you just can have a tendency to fall back into old ways. And so having that forward support is so important. So just as we're kind of wrapping up here today, what's the easiest way for people to get a hold of you if they want to learn more about this program?
Well, I have a website, which is www.yourtransformationtrainer.com. My email is the same thing, yourtransformationtrainer@gmail.com. I'll
Great.
have
We'll
other
have it all
things
in
in
the
the
show
links. I
notes.
have
Yeah.
LinkedIn, Facebook, et cetera,
Yeah. Yeah.
on and on. So
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us today, Rosemary.
Thank you.
It's super exciting. And we'll see everybody again soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you.